ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಅಂಶಗಳು ಏನು ಅಂಶಗಳು ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೀಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳೋದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳತ್ತ ಗಮನ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಭಾವನೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನ ಈಗಾಗ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ತುಂಬಾ ಸಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸಂಚಲನ ಸಭೆಗಳನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಆ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸಂಚಲನ ಸಭೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲನಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವೈಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ ಕೂಡ. ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಝೂಮ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುಗಮಕಾರ ಸನ್ಮಿತರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸದುಪಯೋಗ ಪಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸಂಚಲನ ಸಭೆಗಳಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಮ್ಮ ವೃತ್ತಿ ದಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನ ಮೆರೀಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಅನುಕೂಲಕರ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ವೇದಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ NGO ಸನ್ಮಿತ್ರರಿಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ವಂದನೆಗಳು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಮೇಡಮ್, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಈಗ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್?
ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ರಪ್ಪ.
ಶೋರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಓಕೆ.
ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ಈಗ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವೈಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್ಸ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್, ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿನ ಸುಗಮಕಾರರೋ ಆ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿನ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮಿಗೆ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತೀವಿ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್ಸಿಗೆ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್ಸ್ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮಿಗೆ, ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮಿಗೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್ಗೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್, ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್, ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮಿಗೆ, ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಔಟ್ ರೂಮ್ಗೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಿ.
So we'll start off here. So welcome back to the English session today for the Sanchalana, which is going to take place on this Saturday, that is 18th January. So I hope you to see like all prepared for today. So thank you for that. And we'll be starting up with today's discussion. So as usual, I think in the last 4 sessions, whatever we're discussing, we just were going through the activities, what were printed in the handbook, and as well as some of the activities which were out of the handbook. So where we can make sure that they can be conducted in the Sanchalana centers, and from there we can get it into the classroom sessions. But here, like today, we will be discussing about few more other sections apart from only the activities to be conducted in the Sanchalana centers. So as we see, so I just want to continue like what we were talking about, like, so this session will be a quite bit different from the 4 sessions, whatever we had. So, and that will continue, like, how do we take up this session? So we can divide this complete session into 3 important things. So where in the very first beginning part, we discuss about the importance of the pre and the post quiz. So we all know that the teachers were enthusiastically participating in answering the pre quiz and the post quizzes. So like we just want everyone to know about like their efforts as well. Hence we thought of taking this particular section where we identified features from different blocks where the teachers have all attended both pre and post quiz. So with the highest scores. So that's the one important section we'll be dealing with. We can see the teacher names, like who could able to attend both post quiz and pre quiz with the highest scores. As per the blocks, also we'll be saying like from each block how many people like could able to attend both the quizzes. And next coming to, we all know that we had a diet research study took place in the month of July and all. So generally we call it as DSAS. So this diet research study has given some results to us. So where we could able to find out like what are the important competencies we should address to our children in our classrooms. So we thought of bringing them as well into this session. So that's the second section where diet research study, what is it we could able to interpret the data from there, and what are we concentrating and which competencies are being addressed. Similarly, as usual, like the previous Sanchalana sessions, whatever we had interaction sessions, the same thing will carry to this in this session as well. We will be discussing about the different activities which were given in the Sanchalana handbook. So these are the three things. And finally, we would also like to address with the different challenges that teacher mentors and the teachers can face to bring in this kind of experiential learning or the activities what we are giving you or you people would have thinking to get into the classroom. So how could some suggestions or some ideas, how could we get out of this, and how these activities are aligned to the classroom there, so that the challenges whatever the teachers face can also be solved. So these are the 4 different areas today we'll be dealing with. Yeah, here is the screen. Hope my screen is visible. So this is what we were all discussing till now, like how is this section has been divided into. We have divided this into 4 different sections, that is importance of pre and post quiz, diet research study, and handbook activities. Along with that assessment, how could we bring in to follow with the challenges. So moving forward, we'll enter into the each and every section. Importance of pre and post quiz. I just told like the background of like what we are trying to do the year. So we have recognized like there are 374 responses for the pre-quiz, and now the like how many of you from each block we could able to get the responses from Tumkuru and the Madhugiri district. So coming to this is the Tumkuru data. So we could probably say this is the participation of the teachers in pre and post quiz together in the Tumkuru. So where we could see like CNLE, from CNLE block, we could get 47 responses for the pre-quiz and 7 responses for the post-quiz, 66 for the pre-quiz and 14 from post-quiz from the Guppi block. Similarly, for the Kunigal block, we got 40 for pre-quiz and 6 for the post-quiz. Similarly, for the Tiktur, it is 28 followed by 6 for post-quiz. Tumkuru, 54 for the pre-quiz and 20 for the post-quiz. In the same way, from Turbekere, we got 27 for the pre-quiz and 34 for the post-quiz. Kortegere, we got 20 for the pre-quiz and 21 for the post-quiz. And from Madhugiri, we have got 43 for pre-quiz and 31 for the post-quiz. Similarly, for Pavgada, 19 and 12 for this. Sira, we got 36 for the pre-quiz and 22 for the post-quiz. So this is the responses we could able to get for the block-wise. So for the pre and post-quiz. Out of this, now we'll see like how many teachers were here for the high scoring teachers. This data we have taken, for example, if I consider with the Jyoti ma'am, KP Jyoti ma'am, she's from the Guppi block. She could actually able to get highest score, that is 10 on 10 in both pre and post quiz. So we have just selected the teachers here who could able to attend both pre and post quiz. Similarly, from Madhugiri, we have Aimlata ma'am and Kamakshama ma'am. Yeah. And similarly, from Sira, we have Hasma ma'am, Pavitra ma'am, Tippeswamy sir, Chandrakala ma'am, Manjunath sir from Tipturu. So these are some of the teachers list where they could able to get the highest scores, that is 10 on 10 for both pre and post quiz. So congratulations teachers, and thank you for your participation. So hope this continue for the long. The next session, we were saying that today we'll also see that some of the results we could able to get from the diet research study as the DSAS paper, which have conducted in the July month of this 2024. So from this, actually, every Sanchalana had taken some care to address these particular learning gaps as in the form of the activities or in the form of the resources and all. So today we also would like to present that. So coming to that, so we could able to see that. So letter recognition is one of the important skill or the competency to be built among the children for the like good passage reading as well as the comprehension part. Similarly, for the reading simple words as well, and also reading comprehension. So similarly, this is why did we come to those three competencies? Because of this particular data interpretation, what we could able to do. So this is completely like grade-wise research study. We could able to analyze from the DSAS paper, especially for English. So when it comes to Tumkuru, we could able to see that for the grade from grade 4, 55. See, whatever these numbers are in the percentage, of the students who could actually able to set that whatever the expected number or expected score for the paper. So we could see that 55% of the students from grade 4 could able to get the score what has been expected from the paper. Similarly, 58% from grade 5, 63% from grade 6, and 68% from grade 7. It follows with the same thing as we see with the skill-based performance as well. So the complete paper was actually divided into 4 sections. So we could able to see the questions from the letter and word recognition and reading simple sentences, reading comprehension with the level 1, and reading comprehension with the level 2. The slight difference between this level 1 and level 2 reading comprehension is, so in the level 1, by reading this passage, the children could able to get the answers directly from the passage itself. But in the level 2, the students has to get the inferred meaning answers or inferred answers, in the sense like they might not directly find the answers from the passage. That's the major difference between reading comprehension level 1 and level 2. So based on this, we can see that the grade 4 students could actually had with 2 skill-based questionnaires here, that is level letter and word recognition and reading simple sentences, where we could see that 60% of students could able to do well with the letter and word recognition, and 45% with the reading simple sentences. Followed by the grade 5, we could see that they had all the level type of questions here. So checking with that, like a letter and word recognition could be achieved by 64% of grade 5 students, 54% for the reading simple sentences. Similarly, 54% of students could do well in reading comprehension level 1, and 53% could do well in reading comprehension level 2. And similarly, with the grade 6, 48%, 51, 62, and 62%, the same way what I have explained for the grade 5, and followed by grade 7 also. The same research study we can see for the Madhugiri as well. So this is for the overall percentage. So 46% for the grade 6, 46 again for grade 5, 57 for grade 6, and 66% for the grade 7 could able to do well with that scores. Same thing with the skill-based performance for the Madhugiri. Whatever we have got with the explanation to the Tumkuru follows the same thing for the Madhugiri as well. So based on all these interpretation of the data, we could able to see that then those 3 areas are the major areas to be, or competences to be concentrated for the future learning, better future learning. So now these are the 2 sections, and coming to the actual content-wise thing is the handbook activities over here. So that is nothing but with respect to the handbook activities. So we'll just go with the explanation of each and every activity which is given. No.
Good afternoon, teachers. We'll now be taking you through the handbook activities. Starting with our discussion points will be the ETL element of Sanchalana 5, which is creating experiential activities. Then activities which are designed for January 2005 for grades 4 to 7. January 2025. And DSAS learning points. Start with the ETL element of Sanchalana 5 is about creating experiential activities. The process of creating an experiential activity is cyclic and process that involves the incorporation of 4 essential steps: exposure, forming connections, trying and practice, and assistance and clarity. The first step, exposure, involves introducing the topic to the students in such a way that it makes the students curious about it. The second step is when we help the learner make associations with what is introduced to them and what they know. When the students begin trying to practice what they have learned, they are at the third step. As teachers, it is our responsibility to assist the student while he learns and provide clarity when he is in doubt. The third and the fourth step repeat till the student has learned the topic that was introduced in the exposure step. Therefore, when you create an activity, ensure that the students go through all the steps and get to learn experientially. The first activity is for grade 4. The activity is called Move to the Music. The objective of the activity are differentiate between different dance forms and associate music with rhythm. This activity would require you to source a video with instruments and in order to play it in the classroom. So the first activity you need to, for exposure, you start by dividing the class into groups. Each group is given an instrument. The students will listen to the sound of the instrument and try to dance. You may play music and get students to dance to these clips. For example, we can listen to the sound of the drum or the guitar or the violin. Play the video again and let the learners present their dance to all in the group. To make the dance preparation more fun, give 2 instruments to a few groups and 3 to some others. Using variety will help make the activity interesting, like more groups or more than 1 instrument in the group. Allow learners to observe the change in the style of steps caused by the change in the style of music. The class can get into a discussion about various dance forms, music forms, and costumes. This will help them practice what they have learned and clarify any doubts they have. For grade 5, the activity is Form a Story. As the name suggests, the objective reads, build a story based on a given situation. We would need to prepare chits that contain situations that the students will later discuss. Exposure in this activity is the narration of the story of Harishchandra. Ensure you read it with good intonation so you can capture the attention of the students. Distribute the chits with various situations. Help students build connections by having a discussion on which student has encountered a similar situation. Ask their opinion on the child in the situation being discussed. The steps of practice and clarifications happen when the student narrates the story. Bring the focus to bravery by asking, do you think the child in the story was brave? Here are the few situations that we could use. Two children are walking on a road. They see a baby crossing the road and a vehicle approaching in the opposite direction. Or a hut catches fire and people around are panicked since there's a baby inside the hut. A child is watching everything very keenly. We can conclude this activity by asking reflective questions. Like, have you been in any situation when you had to be brave? How did you manage to be brave? What do you think you would have done better if the same thing happened today? Is there a change in your actions, or what would you feel? What is different in you now? January, grade 6, the activity is storytelling and reading. Here, the objective is to identify different pieces of information in an article. You will need newspaper cutouts and a record sheet in order to do this activity. We suggest you collect English newspapers of 2 days and cut out the newspaper articles related to different categories of news articles. The students are exposed to the topic by giving them the news article. This act helps the students to gather and interpret information from an article. You make them think about the object while you ask, how many of you read the newspaper regularly? Can anyone tell me what you read in the newspaper? Can anyone tell me what we call this? Help students make connections with the article by telling them about it. News articles is written using information about who, what, when, how, and where. Who was involved in it, what happened, where did it happen, and when did it happen. To demonstrate, the students can make connections with the article. Write the WH questions and the how question and point out the answers in the article. Instruct the learners to discuss in their groups and fill out the record sheet. This cyclical process is here trying and practice, and assistance and clarity stages would merge. This is the record sheet mentioned in the materials required. It captures various elements of the story, just like I mentioned earlier. To conclude the activity, you may ask reflective questions. Do you have the habit of sharing the routine of all that you do at school with your mother or father after going back home? How do you explain to them? Who is the central character of your narration? Do you choose what topics to share with them? Do you choose the most interesting topics or most exciting things that happened to you that day at school or something else? How do you pick and decide what to share? That brings us to the end of this activity. Moving on, we have the activity for grade 7 for January. It is called Family and Me. Here, the objective is to create a family tree and introduce words that are both maternal and paternal. This topic needs no introduction. However, you may guide the students to think in terms of number of members living in their house. Help them draw connections with the topic by using questions. Do you know what a family tree is? Have you seen a family tree? Guide the learners by drawing a tree on the board with name clouds as shown in the following image. Let the learners draw as many name clouds as they want, depending on the number of members at home. Now, ask the learners to include the members that don't stay with them and stay at a different place. A few teachers' notes for this activity is that they can encourage learners to add new clouds wherever fitting, referring to the kinship list provided. Or the learners can draw a tree or give the names of 4 generations or above on either the maternal or paternal side may be rewarded for encouragement. This brings us to the end of the activities that we have gone through from grades 4 to 7. These activities address a few challenges. The first challenge that it addresses helps us complete the syllabus. Topics like music and dance needs to come together of resources to successfully implement the activity in class. The lesson plans are designed to cater to this very need. They give structure to the learning in the class and aid the teacher to deliver effectively. Next, limited teaching time. We teachers have the responsibility to compete for attention. Therefore, when in the classroom, the teacher aims at making use of the limited time in the best possible way. For instance, the activity on story time can also include the concept of nouns and adjectives. Unavailability of teachers. The teacher can resort to PBLs when faced with a situation where they cannot be in the classroom. These are designed to be used by the student independently. The teacher can therefore manage multiple classes for a given time. You may access these PBLs and even the lesson plans that we have discussed on Teachopia.